how has community played a role for you in the realm of the Enneagram and understanding your type? Like, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I think um showing up as your authentic self as you're finding it and allowing yourself to just be in community as your authentic self has been the biggest thing for me and what actually helped me find my Enneagram type, moving out of a space in a community where I was in stress most of
Mm.
the time to now in a space where I'm operating to average to healthy levels. It allowing myself to I think for the first time, I was really opening up to people about my worries and
Yeah.
saying them out loud. Um, and allowing other people to experience your authentic self, I think is a great way to experience the Enneagram, because not only that, you'll experience their authentic self and what it looks like within their Enneagram number too. And it just creates this whole mutual deep understanding
Hmm.
that I think is so important, because I think when you're in community and you involve the Enneagram, like you said, learning about yourself so much all the time can become isolating. Um, and I think it's important to take those breaks to be like, I want to learn about you now, and I want to learn about us. And
Hmm.
how can we learn about us two together in this situation by our unique experiences? How can we come to that point of unity by what we're learning separately? And for me, at least, I found that energizing and wanting me to keep going and breathing life into my self discovery process.
Yeah. What you just said makes so much sense to me because you learn so much about yourself through relationships with
Oh, yeah.
others, through communication, through how you respond, how they respond. So it really isn't as much of an individual journey as I think sometimes we think it is, because you
Mm.
really play off of your relationships and what you're learning from somebody else. So I know the book is all about
Mm-hmm.
taking care of your type.
Yes.
And it really focuses on self-care. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious, how do you define self-care? How do you look at it? And has your perspective around self-care changed through writing the book too? Like, I'm just super
Mm.
curious about this.
Yeah, I think that when the book was originated, I wanted to really challenge the definition of self-care. I feel like even more so than at the beginning of the book, because at the beginning of the book I felt like self-care is sometimes painful. It is
Yes.
uncomfortable, and it's sometimes the last thing we want to do, but it's the thing that we need to do to grow and to take care of ourselves. And though it is still fun, I found too, I've recently loved, through quarantine, developed this habit of baths and walks and all the traditional things that you hear about self-care, which um I still think are incredibly important. So I feel like in a way my perspective has been I see the value of taking care of my physical self in that way.
Yeah.
But I also, even more so than at the beginning of the writing process, believe that self care is often the last thing we want to do.
Hmm.
And it's that internal confrontation we have to make that seems to be the most all consuming and painful. But unless you, my therapist and everyone I've ever met always says the only way out is through.
Hmm.
And that's how I view self care of okay, I know that I struggle with this. People in my life have told me I struggle with this. I see how the struggle has hurt other people in my life, has hurt myself. If I don't go into this head on and try and heal, try and create a path forward, feel all of the feelings in it too, I'm going to be stuck where I'm at, even if I still keep exercising and take all the baths that I want.
Yeah.
Until that thing is addressed, there will not be true, authentic growth. And so that's what I tried to express in the book. And I feel like even more so now, that is what I try and do
Yeah.
every day as well in my self care practice.
Yeah.